Okay, guys, listen, apologies firstly about the piss poor video quality. I'm going to say an old laptop. It's actually a quite a new laptop that I bought, but I think it's only 720p, something like that. So anyway, and it's obviously piss poor light, and you've got the reflection on my head. So anyway, how the hell are you? It's Friday, thank God. What's your plans for the weekend? My plans. Tonight, when you're watching this, I will hopefully be playing pool with my girlfriend, probably getting beaten as per usual. And Saturday, what are we doing Saturday? I think we're going down to Peebles to visit my girlfriend's brother. He lives down there. Saturday night, don't know. And Sunday, I'm supposed to be going out. Now I know I've said it a million times. I've said I'm retiring from running. Um, or not tonight, last night I went up to see a mate. It was basically the guy that I used to do all the running with. I went up to see him and his girlfriend last night. Had my dinner, really, really nice. Jax, don't even think about it. I've got two dogs on the couch, and probably you can probably see Jax's head. Yeah, I was out with them last night. Went up for my dinner. It was really nice, and yeah, we're going out for a run on Sunday. But to be fair, as much as I enjoy Cook Soul, and I really do enjoy it, I think I do need to kind of factor in some cardio as well. Cook Soul, it's a physical sport, but well, at least what I'm doing at the moment, you're not really burning any fat, so I do need to kind of get back. I actually rejoined the gym on Monday, and the plan is to go down, do a bit of resistance training on a Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, something like that. So we'll see how it goes. Anyway, this week, what have I been doing from a gaming perspective? Right, before I forget, I want to give not a shout out as such, but I just want to say a massive, massive thank you to one of my mates, Andy. I know him through YouTube. He's been watching my channel. I think the first video that Andy watched was when I did a main Meister look at, and it was the SD2 something another device for the Atari. Now Andy he's done a few jobs for me in the past. He fitted a spinner onto my Jaguar gamepad, so you've got the proper spinner, which means you can play Tempest the way God intended. And I was mentioning, in fact, I'll tell you exactly what it was. The video that myself and my mate Neil put out about, I don't know, 3-4 weeks ago, where we were playing the Commodore TV games, and it's called Games. It's not Commodore TV game. Commodore TV games. We were trying to get that working. We were trying to tune it into a CRT and failed miserably. We just simply couldn't get a picture. And in the end, I don't know whether we broke it, but it stopped working. So Andy contacted me and says, "Listen, mate, why don't you send it down to me? I'll get it fixed for you, or at least I'll try and fix it, and I'll also modify it to composite." Now, if you don't know what composite is, it's the little white and yellow plugs that you get in the front of most TVs. Even kind of more modern TVs tend to have it. So I sent it off. Well, before I sent it off, I said to him, "I don't suppose you would do a composite from a Coleco?" And he went, "Yeah, yeah, that's fine." And my Atari 2600 and my Atari Junior. And he went, "Yep, yep, send them down." So I did that, and he was going to be posting them back to me, but because I was down in Birmingham last weekend, I said to him, "Look, I'm going to be coming. I'll be down in Birmingham. Where are you?" So he gave me his address, and it turns out it was maybe, I don't know, a 50-mile detour. But when you're travelling for like 350 miles, an extra 50 miles isn't an issue. So I popped in, picked up the machines, dropped off another few. The Binatone one, you may remember Neil and I did a video many years ago where we tried, partially successfully, to tune it into a CRT TV again. So Andy's very kindly offered to put a composite on the Binatone, my, oh, what the hell do you call it? Video pack, or was it Magnavox Odyssey? I think they called it in America, and my Atari 400. And what he's also offered to do, and it's really, really good, is he's going to fit extra memory in the Atari 400 because I think it only had, was it 16K, and he's going to increase it to a whopping 48K so I can play any more games. So massive, massive thank you to Andy. I'm forever in his debt for doing that. I am very, very lucky that I've got some awesome people that watch my channel that have helped me out over the years. You know, brilliant, and that's what makes this community. It's great that we've got people that kind of just help one another. You know, you don't go in, you don't do this thing for what you can get back, but it's nice that people do stuff like that. So yeah, on so massive thanks to Andy for doing that. On Tuesday, yep, Tuesday I had the computer club, and yeah, we've got. I mean, we've been going for I don't know how many years. We're actually trying to remember on Tuesday how many years we've been going for. And it's, you know what, it's one of these things. It's like everything. The older you get, time, you always underestimate time. So you'll say to somebody, "Yeah, yeah, the last time we did that was 3 years ago," and you realise the reality was 10 years ago. I think we've probably been going to computer club for I reckon easily 10 years, easily. Um, and it's been the same kind of bunch of people. There's maybe been about five or six of us. People have come, people have gone. You know, you get newcomers that come along, disappear. But in the last couple of months, we've had another group of guys. Three guys last month, and on Tuesday we had the same three and another guy. So we're kind of getting up to about 8 or 9 members, which is really awesome. It's great because you get to see. It's nice having new people. They bring along their own hardware. It's just nice to kind of see other machines, you know. So it's really, really good. Like I said, if you're in the vicinity of Edinburgh and you want to come along to the club, just give me a shout. It's every once a month, and it's usually on a Tuesday, usually kind of the middle Tuesday of the month. So I took along my ColecoVision. Again, thanks to Andy. And what the bit I've completely forgotten to kind of mention is prior to Andy fitting composite onto these machines, I really had no way of using them. You know, trying to tune a TV for an RF signal is it's nigh on impossible unless you've got an old TV. I mean, my Sony TV, my Sony Trinitron upstairs, you can kind of get a picture, but it's not the greatest. It's not, and it's a lot of fanning about. And I think because of that, we've now reached a stage where we are inherently lazy. You know, I've seen me um, rather than I think, oh, I quite fancy watching a film, and I can't be arsed getting up off the seat, putting a DVD into the player, and you know, not watching it. So we're very, very lazy. We're a lazy society, and yeah, just the fact that you've got to tune a thing in is enough to kind of make me not play it. Having said all that, I have to say that the ColecoVision has probably one of the worst controllers ever. If you've never seen it, Google it. I can't be asked going up and getting it. I can't be asked Googling it for you. Just Google it. It's terrible. I mean, it looks more like a TV remote. It's got it's got 9 numbers. It's got a little kind of numeric keypad underneath it. It's that kind of ZX Spectrum Atari 400 sort of thing to it. It's got numbers, and then the actual joystick is a little knob with what looks like a rubber wheel in the top. It's just let's be honest. I mean, that there is a million. That is like the perfect controller. But you know, the early controllers were just goddamn terrible. But what Andy told me you can do is it takes two controllers. You can plug a standard Atari joystick into it, and as long as the game only uses one fire button, you can do that. So that's what I'm going to do. So I took along the ColecoVision. it's it's not as good as I remember it to be. I mean, I'm talking what 1979, 1980 possibly. I used to go to the supermarket and they always had that running. They had the 2600 running. They had the Vectrex, which I didn't really know. I didn't really know what the Vectrex was. It wasn't really a video game. It was more just a kind of novelty thing. And they used to have the video pack as well running. But head and shoulders above all of these was the ColecoVision. They always had Donkey Kong, which just it looked mind blowing. You know, you need to remember this was before. This is probably about 2, 3 years before I got a computer, and the thought that I could have a system in the house that played Donkey Kong was mind blowing. But there was no way my mum and dad were going to get me the 2600, which was a whopping £100. I can't remember how much the ColecoVision was back in the day, but it was more expensive, I think. So yeah, it's I wouldn't say the ColecoVision is as impressive. It doesn't look as impressive now as it did back then, but it's still wonderful to be able to play these games and just kind of see what they're like. So yeah, that was a computer club. What else did people have? There was a guy had I can't even remember what it's called. It's a little kind of hand. It's not a handheld device. It's I can't remember the name of it. It's a little device and it's got a little screen and it's got kind of versions of arcade games, but it's not an emulator as such. It's actually versions that have been kind of written for it, and it's a lovely little thing. I didn't take any photographs of it, unfortunately. There was a Commodore 64. There was what else was there? There was a PC Engine. I said I had the ColecoVision, and there was an Atari 2600. By the way, if anybody knows of a cheap way of getting a multicart for the Atari 2600 and or the ColecoVision, please let me know. One of the guys that was at the club, I can't even remember his name, Vic, I think it was, might have been. Yeah, the reason I remember that is because when he was leaving, one of the guys went, "See you later, Vic," and I just thought that is so appropriate. If only the guy was 20 years old, Vic 20. Awesome. Only bettered by a guy called Commodore. But yeah, Vic mentioned you can get a sort of, it's 169 games in one, something like that. Probably coming from Japan. So if anybody knows, or China, I should say, if anyone knows the best place to get a multi-cart for the Atari 2600 and the ColecoVision, please let me know because I do want to grab one. I know these, you can buy the, what do you call it? You can buy the EverDrive cartridges, but they're stupidly expensive. They really are expensive. So, you know, if I can get a multi-cart, I know you've got to kind of piss about with like, is it dip switches and what have you, but you know, I don't want to go forking out a lot of money. Um, yeah. Oh, before I forget, I've got a new job. Excuse me. Now, I've known about this. I've known about this for. I'm not going to tell you what the job is at the moment, and that will become clear probably next week. I'll be able to tell you exactly why and why I can't tell you about it. But I can now reveal I'm actually leaving my present job. Um, I was happy in the job. I mean, the job that I'm doing at the moment, I was happy in. Good bunch of people. You know, it's I always find that people can make or break a job, and I have to say the people I work with in my current job are ace. They really are good. But the job, the job kind of role had changed quite a lot over the last 6 months into it became a job that I don't want to do anymore. Um, you know, and I think when you get to that stage where you're like, I can't be bothered with this anymore, it's time to look for something. But I wasn't actually looking for another job as much as I was kind of getting a bit fed up of the role I was doing. I wasn't looking for anything, and I was contacted by a company. So I've got a new job. Like I said, I'm not going to tell you what it is at the moment, and you'll find out why next week. but I will be leaving. I will be starting a new job in about 4 weeks' time. So I'll finish up on the 6th of May. And yeah, finish up on the 6th of May. I'm on holiday for a couple of weeks after that. I'm actually going to London for 6 days. As I've mentioned before, if any of you guys live in London and you're going to be down there from the 11th, Wednesday the 11th until the Wednesday the 18th, I'm going to be down. I am tying up with one of my mates, Lewis, who's one of the guys that kind of watches the channel. Going to be tying up with him. But if anyone else is down in London in these dates and fancies hooking up, give me a shout. It'd be wonderful. So yeah, I was at the computer club on Tuesday. My cook soul, I was there on Wednesday. I got my yellow, oh, what's it called? Tabs, I think they call it. Now, to anyone that doesn't do martial arts, you're thinking, so what belt are you? Well, technically, I'm still a white belt, but I've got the yellow tab in it, and it's quite literally a piece of yellow tape. I mean, it's that simple. It's not anything fancy, but it's what you have to do to get it. Um, yeah, it doesn't sound like much, and it's not. I'm far from being a Bruce Lee or a Steven Seagal, although I do rock the Steven Seagal look apparently. Um, when you get to a crusty age like me, 54 years old, there's lots of people I see and talk to a lot of people who they struggle to walk, they're overweight, they can't do anything. They get to this age and they think, yeah, I'm too old to do anything. I'm just going to grow old gracefully. I'm like, bollocks to that. You know what I mean? The age is just a number. None of us know when we're going to go. We've all got an expiry date somewhere. I don't know where that is, fortunately, because I don't really want to know when I'm going to kick the bucket. But yeah, I'm one of these people, I might be 54, but I still want to keep kind of doing stuff. I've always been quite a kind of physical person. I want to kind of keep doing that. Where was I talking? Yeah, so anyway, I got my yellow band, so that was like my first grading. Um, my next one will be for the yellow belt. But I've got quite a lot to learn between now and I think it's the middle of June. I can go for my yellow belt. So that was Wednesday. So I was really, excuse me, I was really quite chuffed to get that. That was good. And on Thursday, yeah, I was out with up at my pal's house. I mentioned that earlier on. I said we're going to go out for a run on Sunday. So that's been that. Before I answer the questions, it's not going to be a long waffle. I was going to say waffle, a long waffle. When I was doing the Sunday live stream, the last couple of Sunday live streams, I've no idea how we got talking about it or how it even came to be something. Somebody mentioned, presumably for a laugh, why don't you do a Main Meister calendar? Or t-shirts, whatever. Now, I know I did put out a t-shirt about, I don't know, 4 or 5 years ago. Again, it was probably 8 or 9 years ago, reality. I thought to myself, you know what? Why not? Why not? Now, I've I've thought about what I'm going to do. Um, I think I'm going to hold up a game. I'm going to let you see the games actually. I'm going to let you see the games. Or should I keep it a secret? Yeah, I'm going to keep it a secret, so only those that buy the calendar can get it. I'm going to hold up a game. Now, I think it was a certain young lady. I'm not going to name her. She was saying, yeah, you need to be topless, obviously, when you're doing this. No. I was talking to one of the guys at the computer club, and he says you absolutely need to be topless, and you need to obviously hold the game provocatively. But I think I would probably end up getting banned from YouTube for distressing people too much. So I don't think, Catherine, I've just named you actually. I don't think there's going to be a topless version. I think a picture of my face is quite enough for most people. So I am going to do a calendar. Obviously, we're almost into May, so I'm going to do the calendar, and it's going to be available. It's going to be a 2023 calendar. So for all your loved ones, for that stocking filler, you can get the Mean Meister calendar. A couple other people have said they would love to have an Arcade Perfect My Arse t-shirt. Now the great thing is you can use the, I can't remember what site it's called. There's numerous sites where you can. I'm just looking. I've got books over there. What books are they? Oh, I know what they are. Sorry, it doesn't matter. Sorry, I'm getting distracted. There's numerous websites where I can upload like a picture of me or a picture of me with bollocks, whatever it is, and then you can have it. You can have mugs, you can have mouse mats, you can have, I don't know, baseball caps, you can have whatever you want. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to get an Arcade Perfect My Arse thing, and somebody also wanted an bollocks t-shirt, whatever. So I'm going to get that done. I don't know when I'm going to do it. I am going to work in it. I've actually been going through. I've got one of my big boxes again. I'm going to go through that and pull out. I would say 12 games that mean something to me. May not be the best games ever, but games that kind of mean something to me. So that's the plan. That's what I'm going to do. Yeah, that's kind of been it. I've done a couple of watch with Meme Meister. Now, if you don't know what, you're probably thinking, well, no, I was going to say you're probably thinking, what does that mean? Well, it's pretty obvious. Watch with Meme Meister. If you're of a certain age, if you're about 40 or older, and you come from the UK, prior to TV being 24/7, TV didn't actually start until about 6 o'clock in the morning, and it was the Open University, and you always had some brown corduroy cardigan wearing beardy bloke with a comb over, and he would be talking about mathematics or quantum physics. It was all very, very dry stuff. So you had the Open University from about 6 in the morning till about 9 in the morning. And then for about 2 hours, you had what was called Watch with Mother. And they would play, they had various programs, the Wooden Tops, Hector's House, the Clangers, the Herbs, you name it. They had all these Pipkin, Rainbow, although I think Rainbow was ITV, and Pipkin, that was, by the way, Google Pipkin. They are bloody horrific. Pipkin had a rabbit, a monkey, and a pig, and I shit you not, Pipkin, the rabbit, is bloody hideous. If I can remember, I'll try and put a picture of him up, but chances are I'll completely forget, so apologies. If I do forget, Google it, Pipkin. Yeah, you had all these kind of kids' programs, and they were on for like 2 hours, and then that was it. It went back to, I can't remember what was on during the day, but yeah, the days of kids now think, well, 24-hour TV. Nope, that wasn't a thing. And then, of course, you got to, excuse me, I've got hiccups. Problem with hiccups is I talk and I forget to breathe and I give myself hiccups. Yeah, back in the day, it got to, what was it, midnight? And then they would say to you, and that is now all from BBC One viewers. Thank you very much for tuning in. Please ensure you turn your TV off and pull out the plug. And finally, thank you very much. Good night. And then you would get the drum roll and you would get a picture of the Union Jack and you would get the national anthem playing. I kid you not, that's what happened. You got the national anthem and then they used to tell you to turn your TV off. Awesome. So yeah, anyway, Watch Your Mother, you've now understand what it's about. But the series Watch Your Mother, Watch Your Main Meister, is I am going to watch some classic video game TV programs and just talk over it. Some trying to be amusing don't always work. Um, I think I did one. I did one on Wednesday after my cook soul. It was Starcade. If you don't know what Starcade is, it was a TV program that came out in the States, kind of late, sort of early 80s. And what was fantastic was there was one of the guys in the chat on Wednesday night said that one of his friends was actually on episodes 63 and 64, I think it was. Now, I don't have them, unfortunately. There is a YouTube channel called Starcade. Please don't go and watch them. Watch them in my channel. I'll see if he's got these channels, got these particular episodes. But yeah, Watch with Main Meister is I basically put a video on, I watch it, and we watch it together. And like I said, I try and be amusing and witty, but it doesn't always work. So that's Watch with Main Meister. Apologies about kind of the lack of other videos I mentioned on Wednesday. I do have I've got loads of ideas. I don't know what's going on at the moment. I just don't seem to have the time to kind of do stuff. But I do, I'll endeavour to kind of start getting out more regular content. I mean, I'm back into the kind of groove with the Sunday stream. I think the Commodore 64 thing is going down really well, and I have to say a big thank you to all the kind of new subscribers. Um, I've picked up about 20 in the last sort of week and a bit, which is weird because I mean, for a while there, I was completely stagnant. I just wasn't moving at all. So it was really good. It was really good. Oh, I completely forgot to mention last Saturday. Yeah, I was down at Insomnia, which is a video game thing, down in Birmingham. We drove down. I think I told you that in the waffle. I drove down on Friday. We got to Birmingham about 10 o'clock at night. Went straight to bed, and of course, the room was roasting. So we opened the window, and of course, the Travel Lodge backs onto the motorway. I don't know what the motorway is actually. So you couldn't sleep because of the noise. Then you close the window and you're too hot. So it was like the window was open, the window was closed. But yeah, Insomnia. It's it's all right. It's all right. I mean, it's expensive. I think it was about 37 quid. It is quite expensive. But you know what? My daughter loved it. She was cosplaying. She was dressed up as a character from what's it called again? I can't remember. I can't remember. I did remember now. I can't remember. But she got stopped quite a few times. People wanting photographs with her. Genshin Impact, I think they call it. Yeah, she was dressed up and she was enjoying it. She was getting asked for not autographs as such, but people are wanting her picture, which was quite nice. Did I see anything? There was a retro section. I mean, they had some old computers. I wasn't really that fussed about playing because why should I? I've got all these machines. It's quite funny because Ava decided she wanted to play Overwatch, so says, right, well, listen, there was like 5 people playing Overwatch, so we stood behind them. We thought, right, we'll just need to wait our turn. And we queued for about 40 minutes, and eventually she got to play, and I was just laughing. I'm thinking, we've driven for 6 hours, we've driven 350 miles for 6 hours, to pay all that money to go to an event, to queue for 40 minutes to play a game you can play at home. But then that's pretty much what I do when I go to any of these play Blackpool. I've got all the machines that I want to play. Yeah, I don't have all the arcade machines, but I've got 3 arcade machines in my kitchen, and I've got MAME, so I've pretty much got access to all these machines as well. So it's quite funny that you do that. You play stuff that you can play. Anything else that I saw? I watched. We watched although Eva's into cosplay, she's not into the appearing on stage thing. So we watched that. I mean, there was about maybe 10 people taking it mega mega serious. You can tell some of these people do that kind of. I wouldn't say full time, but they're professional cosplayers. I mean, what surprised me was some of them were, I wouldn't say old, but they were maybe in their 30s. I think the prize money was like £200 for third place, £500 for second place and £1,000 for the first place. And there's only about 9 of them taking part. So I was actually tempted to go up and play Fat Bloke. I think I would have won it. So yeah, that was Insomnia. And then, like I say, coming back up the road, I dropped into Andy's house, picked up the machines, and then we got back for about, I think we got back for about 9 o'clock at night, 9:30 at night. So that was good. So that's kind of been my week. So listen, what I'm going to do is half an hour in, I'm going to have a quick look and look at any questions. Right, Del Boy, great waffle, Alan. Then again, I was in it. Anyway, question. Has there been a piece of technology you have found in the past that you still use and could not do without today? I think when I started to use sports watches, which had step monitors and heart rate monitors, I don't think I could do without them now. Anyway, thanks for the support and chat. You make my day. Oh, bless you, Dale. Thank you very much, buddy. Is there a piece of technology you've found in the past that you still use? I have to say, I mean, as much as I like my technology, watches and that kind of stuff, I don't wear them. I don't actually wear a watch. I don't wear watches because I use a laptop all the time. I find I end up, if you've got a watch there, it kind of hurts your wrist. So I don't really wear watches. I mean, so any technology, um, I can't say there is. Can't say there is, Dale. No, like I say, as much as I mean, because I don't carry a watch, I mean, I carry my phone all the time. I mean, if there's one bit of technology that I think is, I keep going on and I've gone on and on and on in the past about the thing that impresses me most of all, technology wise, is the fact that you can buy an SD card that is like 512 gig and it's the size of my little pinky nail. But one of the things, I mean, these things, love them or hate them, everybody's got one. But that's quite a good slogan. Love them or hate one, everyone's got one. Yeah, Google Maps. Wow, Google Maps is just bloody phenomenal. And something I found out fairly recently is if you do Street View in Google Maps, if you look to the top right, top left, I should say, there's a little timeline, and it will say, it will at the far right, it will show you when that video was taken or when these pictures were taken. But then at the far left, it will show you a date back the way. So say it'll say 2021, and then at the left it'll say May 2005, 2005, and then you'll get little dots in between. And basically, if you move that pointer, it will show you what that place looked like in that particular time. So you can kind of zoom. It's kind of like a time machine a wee bit. You can look at your house from like 10, 15 years ago. Obviously, every place is different. Some places that are out in the middle of nowhere, they're not going to be updated as much. But I just think, Google Maps is just awesome. I use it all the time. I mean, I use it for my work. If I'm wanting to like get a map for, if you're wanting to show somebody where to put a fence up, you can zoom in, satellite view, zoom in, you can then get paint. That's an interesting one. What is there any ancient bit of software that you still use? One of the ones, one of the ones that I use is Microsoft Paint. Love it. I still use it. I use it all the time. I mean, when I'm making thumbnails for videos, I still use Paint. It's simple, a bit like me. It's simple, but I know how to use it. So I use that all the time. Anyway, yeah, Google Maps. I just think it's phenomenal. The fact that you can virtually go anywhere in the world. You can zoom in. You can do Street View, and then of course Google Maps for satellite navigation, not satellite navigation, GPS, sat nav. Awesome. I mean, if I was the director of not Garmin, what do you call it? Oh bloody hell, can't even remember the name of it. They used to do all the sat nav machines. They've basically been made null and void with Google Maps. Just phenomenal. So yeah, I can't think of any particular bit of hardware. Dell. No, I can't. But anyway, listen, thanks, Dell. It's always a pleasure to have you on the channel. You're always welcome, buddy. Wee Bob Art. You sound pretty rough, Alan. Hope you're getting well soon. Thanks, Bob. Yeah, I got the cold. It would be 2 weeks today, and I was still feeling bloody dog rough. I mean, probably today and yesterday was the first kind of couple of days that I actually felt okay. Still got a bit of a dicky kind of sore throat. It's like the predator is chucked up in your throat. You've got this real burning acid in your throat. Horrible. But thanks, Bob. Hope you get well soon. Always enjoy the guests, including Dell, as the bouncing off each other really works well. I'm enjoying Dell's channel. I've been listening at work and along when I get time. I remember having a VCD off. I know what you did last summer. Was amazed the first time I saw a movie in a CD, even though they appeared to have been around for a long time. Anyway, guess a question for next time if I can think of one. Of movies that you really love, has any video game came close to feeling like you could at least experience a part of that movie? It doesn't need to be a licensed version. For example, when I played Viet Cong on PC, the atmosphere of going through the jungle with my M16 really did give me Platoon vibes, with scary atmosphere, even though looking back now the graphics are nothing like today's games. Anyway, have a good one. Um, I have to say, I mean, like Ocean Software, they did do some stonking movie tie-ins. You don't really get, do you get many movie tie-ins nowadays? I mean, you get things like Spider-Man and that kind of thing, but they're kind of more generic. They're not really based on films. I always think, I mean, there's some. Why don't they do Star Wars Episode 4? You could really do that justice now with the graphics and whatnot. Games that so the thing is, like Ocean did a lot of movie tie-ins and things like RoboCop and Untouchables and what have you. They sold by the bucket load. Batman the movie. I can't say that I've ever been a fan of these games because they're all just wee mini games, and I never really kind of got it. I was never that. I never really got into these kind of games, so I can't say there's any particular game that makes me feel like I'm taking part in a movie. But just, I mean, you're talking about that Viet Cong. I mean, obviously, graphics nowadays, you're playing, I mean, one of my favourite kind of modern games is The Last of Us. If you've never played Last of Us, you're missing out on one of the best games ever made. Um, it's you literally feel like you're taking part in The Walking Dead. It's so realistic. The graphics, everything, the atmosphere, and obviously the acting, the voice acting has moved on a lot from stuff like House of the Dead. That's got some of the worst acting ever. No, I've never really been into movie tie-ins, Bob, so I can't think of any one particular game that says, "Wow, that makes me feel like I'm there." But yeah, modern games now, I mean, I used to be into the real early kind of Call of Duties on the PlayStation 2, and you felt like you really got immersed in the atmosphere. Um, I'll tell you one, I'm talking complete bollocks. One game that I've been playing, and of course that's what you do. You buy the latest cutting edge console called Xbox Series X, and what do? You play Alien Trilogy, or is it Alien Isolation, I think they call it. That is good. That is awesome. At last, we've got hardware that can really do. We can do the film justice. You really do feel like you're in the movie. It's quite an old game. You can get it on Steam probably for £2.50 or 25 pence, I should say. Awesome. Go and check it out. If you've never played it, Alien Isolation, it is wicked. Really is. So anyway, Bob, listen, thank you very much for that. Excuse me. Mr. Colin Jones, another great guest appearance. Waffle here, guys. A waffle question in two parts. Oh, hang on, I've just missed out Milty Swinbuckle. I'll go to Colin's first. How useful would you find it to get your C64 onto the internet? You know what, Colin? As much as I love the Commodore 64 and I love kind of technology, there are some things that I'm like, I don't really see the point of it. Don't get me wrong, it's the reason. Some people get stupidly excited about, you know, putting a Commodore 64 online, and it's like just because the fact that it should be allowed to do that, it's pretty awesome. I suppose it would be pretty cool to be able to. I don't know. I mean, how would you browse? I don't know. It would. I suppose it would be cool if there was some real easy way of doing it. I suppose it would be quite kind of cool just to actually see. It's like when people bring out Doom for the Commodore 64. Yeah, it's going to look absolutely shit, but the fact that it's even doing it is mental, and that's what makes it appealing. For me, how useful would you find it? How useful would it actually be? Probably not very. I think it's more just the fact that it's doing it. That in itself is impressive. And secondly, how much fun do you think it would be, even if usefulness isn't a thing? All right, yeah, yeah, from the C64. Again, I suppose if you could just, I don't know, if you could load games through it, if you could bring up, um, if you could download images, I think it would be. Now, I know people going about VR, it's a novelty. No, it's no, a novelty, it's not a novelty. I think the C64 going online is a novelty. Does it really work? Not really. Is it better than a PC? Of course it's not. Um, So yeah, I think it would be one of these things you would do for a laugh. Go, oh, look at this! I can go online. You know, is it really worth it? Excuse me, I don't think so. And lastly, excuse me, Mr. Swinbuckle. Question for next waffle. Let me just bring it up. There we go. Are there any games you remember fondly from back in the day but would never go back to now? For example, a game that you used to love but it's quite complex to play and now you just can't be asked to relearn all the keys and controls again. I never really played these games, Alfie. Any game that was remotely complicated, I never really I never played them. Saying that, Elite did have more keys than probably any other game that I would play. Would I go back to it now? Probably not, because I don't think it's kind of done particularly well. What was your question actually? What was it? I'm just trying to remember exactly what you said there. Was it a game that I used to play? Um, a game that you fondly remember? Yeah, a game. Now I've upset a few people saying this. I would say, and I can't really put an exact. I mean, there are some awesome games coming out for the Commodore 64. Look at any of Arlosoft, Mr. Sherman's output. Brilliant, fantastic games. Sam's Journey, Soul Force by Sarah Jane Avery. There's some awesome, awesome games coming out for the C64. But I've always said this, the majority of Commodore 64 games, and not even just Commodore 64 games, 8-bit games, I would say are not worthy of playing nowadays, other than for that couple of minutes kind of nostalgia thing. And I know a lot of people have upset people saying that, but I still stand by it. Don't get me wrong, there are still some Stonewall classic C64 games, but one of the games that I used to love, absolutely loved back in the day, it was one of the first games I ever saw. It was running on an Atari 800, being situ, and it was Bruce Lee. I just thought it was an awesome game, and seeing this game running, and we were all in. Every kid from the 70s, 60s, and 70s was into Bruce Lee, and I just thought Bruce Lee was one of the best games ever. But you know what? Playing it now, I don't know. I find it hard work. I actually find it quite a boring game, and I know it's still going to be up there as one of the the most fondly remembered games, and absolutely. But would I really want to play it now? No, I don't know. I just find it utterly simplistic. Um, but there's still tons of games that I still play. Drop Zone, Rocket Ball, Whiz Ball, Super Pipeline. There's some awesome, awesome, awesome games. Fort Apocalypse, Drelves, Seamus, you name it. Some bloody awesome games. What do you call it? Dino Eggs. There's loads of games that are worthy of playing, but I would still say the majority of them are not worthy of playing. And Bruce Lee, I don't know what it is. There's just something about it. I find it very simplistic. But you know what? It'll always be a game that I remember fondly. But would I want to play it now? Nah, probably not. So anyway, listen, guys, I'm going to get going. I'm going to get along. I will be back on Sunday for part three of I called it the top 100 Commodore 64 games. It's actually 121, I think it is, but who's counting? Um, I think last week I got through about 10 games, so it's going to take a while. I think what I'll maybe do is I'll maybe do 4 or 5 C64 videos, and then I'll stop for a wee break. We'll maybe get to 50, and then we'll do something else, and then we'll get back to C64. So I will be along 7 o'clock until 9 o'clock on Sunday. I hope you all have a really nice weekend. Stay safe. Thanks again. Massive thanks to all the old and new subscribers. I say my subscriber count has jumped up quite a lot, and I'm eternally grateful for every single person that supports me, whether it's watching my videos, commenting on them, giving me a thumbs up, subscribing, whatever. It's appreciated. If you guys never watch the videos, watch my channel, I wouldn't do it. Simple as that. So anyway, guys, have a great weekend. As always, thank you so much for watching. Take care.